Hello, this is ex-Bethelite here, and something I have never fully understood was 45 plus year old men, 45, 50 and up year old men at Bethel marrying 18-year-old girls. I have never understood that. I don't even know how that works. There's a brother that went to my congregation there in Poughkeepsie, and the congregation there had sort of a thing that they did whenever you had new Bethelites there. You would get up on stage, the Bethelite would get up on stage and kind of introduce themselves, maybe answer a couple of questions that the friends may have had. And I remember a particular brother uh, going up there on stage, and he had a young girl with him. Now, I got a chance to speak to the brother before the meeting, and didn't speak to the young girl, didn't even know why she was sitting with uh, the Bethelite. I'm thinking, why is this Bethelite sitting with this young girl here? And the two of them go up on stage together. Well, he goes on to tell everyone that that was his wife. This girl was 18 years old, and she looked like a kid. She looked every bit like a kid, and he had to be at least 45 years old, older guy. And I'm sitting there watching the two of them on stage. He's, tall guy compared to her. She's looking like a little kid standing there next to him. He's a white guy. She's a black uh, sister. And I'm thinking, what? There's so many things that happen at Bethel that just overwhelm you as a new Bethelite. You see so much that, and none of this stuff is in the Watchtower or in any Awake or in any other publications where you know of this before you get to Bethel. So when you get to Bethel, you're seeing all of this for the first time. And I'm just sitting here and I'm looking, and this is a congregation that is used to Bethelites. I'm sure Poughkeepsie congregation always has Bethelites, so they are probably used to this sort of thing. But that was probably the first time I had seen it. Now, I have heard of, let's say, rich men uh, dating much younger women, but I hadn't seen it. I've heard of it, like maybe on television, but this is the first time I saw with my own eyes a 45 plus year old man standing next to what looked like a little kid next to him. I remember, I'm guessing that this brother had uh, his young wife get his briefcase together for the meeting, because I remember her talking to some friends, and of course she's talking to the younger uh, people in the congregation, which just made the whole thing so weird. She's standing there talking to people that were 17, 18, 19-year olds, just chatting, talking, laughing, being a kid, basically. And then you have this older man, again, 45 and up or something to that effect. And he yells her name, and she kind of jumps a little bit. And then she comes right over, and he's like, "Where's my such and such book?" And she's standing like at attention with her hands folded in front of her. And I guess she forgot to put a certain book in his briefcase or something like that, because he's going on and on. How am I supposed to do the school without such and such a book? And she's just standing there silent with her hands folded in front of her. And he's fairly loud, so he's got the attention of the congregation there. And she's just standing there silent, hands folded in front of her, head dropped down. And he's finally, after he gets done with her lecture, he says, just be more careful next time. And I'm thinking, why didn't you put whatever books you needed for the school in your briefcase? I remember also field service at a brother and sister's home, going to meet for field service. And she was laying, the meeting for service was in one room. And this brother was in there and he's looking around like, where's such and such? Where's such and such? He's looking for his wife. She is laying down in another room. She's literally laying down. We're getting ready to head out for service, and I see her there laying down, and she's got the hat on with the little bobble little thing on the top, looking like a little kid, laying down resting. I guess she was tired, and he is livid because she comes in and goes and lays down instead of going in there for the meeting for field service. And I'm guessing she must have been tired for some reason. And he's livid. And I mean, it's a father-daughter type authoritarian relationship. He's yelling at her. She doesn't say anything back to him. And he's leading her around. And I'm thinking, how does this work? If she's 18 and you're 45 plus, let's say you're just 45. And I'm being generous there because he probably was 50. Let's say he's 45 though. At what point did you begin dating this 18-year-old? Were you dating her, like calling on the phone and dating like while she was 17? Isn't that illegal? If let's just say she's 18, they were dating at 17, when she was 17. Let's just say, when did you begin to notice and look at this sister? She's 18. I'm being generous and saying maybe they dated when she was 17. That's just a year of dating. When did you begin noticing this sister? When did you meet this sister? When did you know this sister? When she was younger than 17? Did you notice her when she was younger than 17? Because if she's 18, that's when she's legal right then. I couldn't imagine like how that would work. I can't imagine dating someone when they were just legal to be looked at in that way. So let's say he's 45, she's 18, they're dating. I can't see any way around him at least noticing her at some point prior to her being 18. Which is basically you're borderline pedophile right there. Now, I'm not saying anything is wrong. I'm sure there's cases where an 18-year-old girl and a 50-year-old man can fall in love. And this 50-year-old man may not have ever spoken to her prior to her being 18. But this is questionable to me because this is not the only time this happened. This is fairly prevalent. I had a all-night watchman duty. After I was finished with my duty, I could go to the meeting, but I couldn't go to my meeting because my meeting was over with. I had the early meeting. But after I was done with my all-night watchman, I went to the meeting with a different Bethelite, one of my friends. And I rode with him to his meeting because his meeting was a little bit closer than mine. I want to go driving all the way out to 45 minutes to go to the other congregation that I wasn't assigned to go to their meeting. Why do that when I can just go to a closer Kingdom Hall? So I rode with this brother to the hall. And I remember the Watchtower study. And what looked to me like a father, this is a different congregation, different people. This was a white man and a white girl. It looked to me like a father and daughter sitting next to each other. Because whenever she would comment, the Watchtower conductor said sister such and such, which was the same name as he used for the man that was sitting next to her. And me looking at that, it's his daughter, That's a man and his daughter sitting next to each other. And I'm thinking, this is weird because this is the brother that I saw at Bethel, uh, sitting at such and such a table. So I'm thinking, how is he sitting next to his, how is it? I'm confused. I'm thoroughly confused as to how this is a Bethelite sitting next to this little girl here that looks like his daughter. And I remember her getting up and going to the bathroom during the Watchtower study. Well, this sister had on, looked like a kid. I'm guessing she had to be 18 because that's the only legal way you can be married to somebody. So I'm guessing she had to be 18, but she looked like a kid walking in heels. And she had a dress on. It was a blue dress. And it looked like it was painted on. It was on her so tight. And I'm sitting up there thinking, whose parents are letting their kid walk around at the hall looking like that? That's what I was sitting there thinking during the Watchtower study. Like, whose parents let their kids go to the hall like that? Come to find out, this is this man's wife. This is this man's wife. She didn't even look 18. She had to be 18 because he was married to her. But she didn't look even 18. This man, this is another Bethelite here that is married to this super young girl. And I don't know how old he was, but he's a full grown man. He looked every bit of 40 or up. These parents need to stop bringing their young girls to Bethel and marrying them off to whoever to get them in Bethel. Do you think it is so important for your young daughter to go to Bethel that you would marry her off to somebody that is 3 times her age? What is going on with that? What are the parents of these kids thinking when they do that? Because, technically, that's not a pedophile, but somebody that old looking at somebody that young, you have to question something like that. You have to question, why would they be attracted to something like that? Something that, when I saw that sister in that blue dress walk to the bathroom, she walked past, she walked down the aisle to go to the bathroom, go in the back or do whatever she was doing. And I saw how tight her dress was and she's all in these high heels and whatnot. I'm getting upset about it. I'm thinking, whose kids are going to the hall? Who's buying their kids dresses like that? That's how I'm feeling. You're not feeling like you're attracted to it. You're feeling like you're upset because it looks like kids are walking around looking like grown women. So how is this man looking at that and actually attracted to it? It's questionable. It is questionable. At the least, it is questionable. And then the parents who are bringing their kids, their daughters, to Bethel at, I'm guessing, super young ages, and thinking, I want my daughter to go to Bethel, so I'm going to have her marry some old guy at Bethel just to work for free. Because this is this girl's life now. And in both cases, these guys are bullies because this girl was talking to someone. She was up in the front and he was in the back. And I remember talking to my friend like, This man is married to her. You know what I mean? Like I'm talking to him and he's like, yeah, bro, that's how it works here. And the girl's husband is upset, I'm guessing because he's ready to go and she's still talking. So he yells her name like, let's go. You know what I mean? And I see her grab her stuff real quick and just like not run, but kind of jog over to him. Whereas a adult, a sister who is an adult will probably look at him like, who are you yelling at? I would love to see him try something like that. Him or the guy who I guess had his young wife get his bag and everything ready for him. I would like to see either of them yell like that at a grown woman and see what happens. They're yelling at little kids and they're acting like little kids, running over to them, hands folded, head down. How is this okay for a Christian organization? I can understand something worldly, quote unquote worldly organization, but how is this okay for a Christian organization? Because they're talking about, the Bible talks about evenly yoked, not to be unevenly yoked. How on earth is an 18-year-old girl and almost a 50-year-old man evenly yoked? I would love for someone to explain uh, that to me. And not only that, but, it's just bullying these girls, yelling at these girls, telling these girls to go here, go there, and do that, and they're rushing over to go do it, just like a little kid listening to their father. It seems to me that maybe that is some of the motivation in doing something like that is to be able to just totally boss someone around and to be somewhat of a tyrant because both of them yelled at their wives and both of those wives just totally submitted to the male. But there were other situations that I saw, not at the congregation, but while at Bethel, where these young girls are getting yelled at. I'll tell you one other example. Rode back to Walk Hill, and I rode with the couple. I'm sitting in the back. The man and his super young wife is sitting in the front. Well, he drops us off, and he gets ready to go and park the car. Well, we start to go up the steps to get ready to go to our rooms. And I remember her room was on a floor higher than mine. So when we get to my floor, I get ready to tell her, good night or whatever. And I'm getting ready to go to where my room is. And she's going to have to go up to the next floor. And we ended up just stopping there and talking about, where she's from, where's her family from, when's the last time she's seen her family. And she's going on and on about her mother and her sister and just telling me different things. And I'm just standing there listening to her because she sounded like she was homesick. She sounded like she wanted to go home. And I'm just trying to figure out, well, why are you here? You know what I mean? Without flat out saying it that way. I'm trying to figure out why is she at Bethel? If she wants to go home, how did you end up married to a 50-year-old man? So we're talking, and I guess while we're talking, he's got the car parked and has gone to the room, and he's probably wondering why in the world she isn't there yet. Well, he comes to the top of the stairs and yells at her, and I'm standing there talking to her, looking like, What in the world is wrong now? And she's got this, deer in the headlights look on her face, like she's just scared to death. And then she goes on, she like runs up the steps and heads on up there. And I go to my room, you know, feeling horrible because not only are these men marrying these super young girls, but from my conversation with her, she's not liking Bethel. She's not liking it, and she's missing her family. And it sounded like she wanted to go home. And I'm sure he is not going to allow that. I think that people need to stop taking young, impressionable women to Bethel and encouraging them to marry old Bethel elders. Just because someone has a title does not mean that they have Christian qualities. Maybe these parents think, well, this is a Bethel elder. Yes, he's 50 years old, but he's a Bethel elder, which means he's next to perfect. No. Based off this, the pure fact that these men are yelling at these women. No, that does not mean that they're Christ-like just because they have a title or because they have an important job at Bethel. So you guys, let me know what you think. Comment down below. Me personally, I think that people need to stop marrying their young kids to grown men at Bethel and leaving them there like everything's okay just because it's Bethel, everything must be perfect. No, that's not the case. Comment down below. Get at me at 937-607-5085. Send me an email, BETHELITE, the number 7 at yahoo.com. And let me know what you think. This is ex-Bethelite signing out.